Hello guys, welcome to my channel again. In this tutorial I'll be showing you how you can design this simple school flyer from beginning to the end with processes which I will be breaking down into bits for you so you'll be able to understand and follow well. Attached below this video is the resource file I used for this design. You can do well to click on the link that takes you to the download page where you can download these files by yourself. If you've not subscribed to my channel, if you're new here, I celebrate you and I urge you to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the post notification so you won't miss any videos I'll be dropping anytime soon. Without further ado, let's get started. So I have my CorelDraw open already, so I'll just click on it. You can go over to where you have yours, and then again I'm using the CorelDraw 2018 for this tutorial. So I'll go straight to where I have my file, or I can come here and say new document, click on new document. Then I can go on to set this to set this. I'll give it a name where it says name, so I'll give it just type school flyer like this. Set this to custom size. Then my size, I'll be using a 5x5 for my size. The measuring units, of course, I will leave it at inches, and color mode RGB, rendering resolution 300. Then preview mode I'll set to enhanced. So having done all of this, I'll just click OK. Now let's CorelDraw do the next for me. So as you can see now, opened up, this is our CorelDraw interface with our design page here. So the first thing I like to do for every of my design, if you follow me from the previous series of designs we've done in the past, is to come over here and double click on the rectangle. Now this gives another shape in place of our page itself. So what I can just do to that is, as you can see, I've pulled it out. Now to restore that, you can just press P. If you mistakenly shift this out of place and you want it back, instead of going through the hassle of adjusting like this, just press P on your keyboard and it centers to the page directly. So what I'll do is I would leave this like this, and I would go over, and of course you all know I like starting with my text, arranging my text first. So I'll go over to where I could just give this white, so I'll come over to where I have my colors here and just click on the white, and as you can see it has been applied to it. I'll remove the outline by coming up here and by right clicking, guys, right click. So you can see now my shape, or this object I have here, doesn't have an outline again. So the next thing I'll do, I'll go over to my text and start typing. So I'll just type school admission, right? So I'll change the font. The font I used here is Boven 1. This is what I used. So before I break this text apart, I would like to close the space in between. Like the space I have here is just too much, so I'll go over to my shape tool and I'll bring this inside like this. So I'll just drag up like this. I think somewhere here is cool. So I'll go back to my pick tool and go to objects. With this tool still selected, I'll go to objects and click on break artistic text apart. The shortcut for that is Ctrl K. So I haven't done that. I will just with my pick tool still selected, I will just resize this one from the edge like this. Please guys, when you are resizing your text, don't do this. That's bad. And please also don't do this. You're just making a mess of the text itself. So the good way to actually resize text is actually resizing from the edges. So you can resize from this edge, this edge, this edge, and this edge here. So what you can just do is just click like this and raise up like this, and make sure it doesn't exceed this L here, so everything is in place. So having done this, I will zoom out, F4 or function F4 as it is on your keyboard, anyone that works for you. I'll bring this down in place, and I think I would like to position it here and make it a little bit somewhat bigger like this. So I'll go over and continue typing every other thing. Then again, I'll go back to my text tool, and I'll just simply type now open for registration. Great, right? So I'll come over here and change the font. The font I use for this is Galano Grotesque. I still have to learn how to pronounce that well. Galano Grotesque. So I'll just change it to the particular one I used, which is which is this one, and I'll move it in place, make it smaller, of course. And make sure it doesn't exceed this position here. Okay guys, so having done that, I would duplicate this and Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and bring this downward like this, and type the remaining thing I need to type. So I'll just provide the best. Okay, I think the best education is spelled this way, and enter for your kids. Okay, so having done this, of course, you know I have a thing for having too many spaces in between text. So I'll go to my shape tool and I'll bring this up a bit like this to this point. Having done that, I'll change the text. I'm just going to remove it from being so I think I'll use this. This is great. So what I'll do to this, I'll make it bigger like this. Of course guys, I'll make it bigger up onto this point, and I'll make sure it's not too far from this, so I can shift this closer and put it this way. So the next thing I want to do is, now right at this point, I want to introduce my image, because I will have to sample colors from that particular image. So what I'll do is I'll go to my resource file. I'll go to where I have them. In your download, this is what you should see in your resource file. So I'll click on the image of this cute looking boy, and I'll just drag inside of CorelDraw like this to open this up. Great, right? So I'll just put this in place well, and like in the previous tutorial, you don't want these extra spaces at the sides like this. So to get rid of all these extra spaces, select the image and go to shape tool and highlight these two parts to bring it inside like this, and also highlight these two parts like this to bring it in like this. Right? You can do so for the top like this. Let me zoom close, and I'll bring this inside like this. Great guys. So having done this, you can hold down your shift and also resize from the edge like this. So I'm holding down my shift key to resize like this. Hold it down again to resize till I have it at the right size and at the right place. So I think I'm happy with the position I have it right now. So let me zoom close so we continue with the order of things here. So now we need a color for our background, and of course, as practice, most time when you are designing, make sure you're selecting the colors you use are part of the images that you would also be using for your design. It makes your design look wholesome and also more professional. So what I'll do is I'll go to my eyedropper tool here, color eyedropper, and make sure it's set to this, and this is actually selected. Select color. Now make sure it's not from desktop, please. selecting the eyedropper tool, I'll just go over to where I have my this color at the edge of the cap like this. You can zoom close so it'll be precise. This particular color here, select it and just give it to the background here I have. As you can see guys, so I've selected my first color from this image I have here. So what I'll do, I haven't done that, I'll go to my pick tool and I'll select all my text like this and change the color to white. Of course, you know we can't leave it at black like that. So I haven't done this. We are almost halfway through our design process. So what I'll do next is I'll put this out of the way because I need to do some other things. Now the next thing I'll do is I want to have a base here where I'll have my phone numbers. Of course, I don't want to use blue, so I'll use a complementary color that I have here. Like you can see on the cap he's wearing here, it has a white. So what I'll do is I'll go over to my rectangle tool like this, and on this side I'll just click and drag a rectangle like this, and I'll change the color to white. Okay, so make sure it's not too big, so I'll just reduce the size a little bit like this, somewhat like this. It's cool, and I think I'm fine with this. I want to increase the size. Make sure you're avoiding the edges too. You can use your ruler inside of CorelDraw. How you can do that is just drag from the side like this and just position it anywhere you want it to be, and you can drag the one on top too, and so you won't have anything outside. So I'll just, since I have my ruler and I'm seeing, I'll just resize like this, and I think I'm cool with this. So next thing I'll be introducing to this design is the enroll now button. So what I'll do is I'll click on the rectangle tool and I will drag from this point like this and somewhat like this. I think I'm cool with this. So the color I will use for this rectangle, I'll be sampling from the shirt. You can see now guys, I'm using the colors I have around me. So what I'll do is I would go over to where I have this lighter shade of yellow. You know, we have the darker shades here. This is where you have the darker shades and this is where you have the lighter shades. So I'll come over here and select this and apply it here. So what I can do to make this somewhat more yellowish is come to where I have my yellow color, hold down your control and click it 3 times. 1, 2 and 3. Okay, good. So I haven't done that. It has an outline. I'll remove the outline. I'll right click here to remove the outline. The next thing I'll do is I want rounded corners for this rectangle instead of edged corners. So what I'll do is I'll go to the shape tool. Having it selected, I'll select any of these nodes and I'll just drag inside like this. As you can see guys, I have made this rounded corner. Once again, I'll click out to see what I'm doing in real time and make sure I'm seeing things clearly. Okay guys, to make this more punchy, I think I would have to fill this yellow with this orange color. So what you want to do, you can actually mix colors in CorelDraw. What you can do is, with the image selected with this color, hold down your control key and click on the color you want to mix it with. Now in this case, I want to mix it with this orange. So I'll just click on control and I'll keep clicking on the orange till I get my desired color. As you can see guys, I think I'm okay with this. So this is my desired color. This is what I want to use. And haven't done all of that, I'll just click out. Now, I want to add a special effect to this rectangle to make it look more like a 3D rectangle, because as it is now it's too plain. So what I'll do is I'll select my ellipse tool like this and I'll draw an ellipse, an oval shape like this. Note, I'm not drawing a perfect circle, I'm just drawing an oval shape like this, depending on how you want to do yours. So having done that, I would go over to my color and give it this yellow color. Once again, remove the outline, and when you're done with the outline, the next thing I want to do is I want to reduce the opacity of this. So I'll go to my transparency to click on it, and when it pops up, I click on the first one, uniform transparency, and I will bump it up to, let's say, 64. I'll just give it a round figure so I can highlight like this and just set it to 70. When I'm done, I'll press enter like this. As you can see, guys, I've created that effect, but I have a problem with this. We have all of this section outside. So how do we do that? It's something we know already. We power click this inside of this. So to do that, with the oval shape selected, as you can see, just right click and go over to power clip inside. Then again, this arrow comes up, just click on the rectangle itself. As you can see, guys, now we have it inside. Very easy and very sharp. So the next thing we need to do is, of course, to have the enroll now on it. So I'll just make a duplicate copy of this, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, copy and paste, and I'll just bring this down here or put this at the side there, and I'll just type all caps enroll now. Yeah, that's what should be there. So having done that, I'll go over and select the text I use for this. I need this to be more bold, so I used this. So I'll just move this in place, and I can make it somewhat smaller. Good. So with this size, I'm okay. Cool, guys. Okay, so let's move on to the next thing. Next thing I'll be introducing to this design is the shape. So I would go over to my ellipse tool, select it, and hold down the control. Now I need a perfect circle. So I held down my control key to draw this. So if you are drawing a perfect circle, hold down your control key like this to draw the perfect circle like this. Okay, so having done that, I'll just make this bigger. Not too big so it doesn't get in the way of. I can come over to my ruler and I'll draw a gauge here so it doesn't go over to this section of things. So I can just bring in a little bit and leave at this point. So with this first ellipse now, I'll give it a lighter color. I can just sample my lighter color from this one I used here. I can just go over to this place and just give it this yellow. Cool with this, right? And make sure you remove the outline. Right click here to remove the outline. So what I want to do next is I want to make another copy of this ellipse. So I don't have to come back here to do that. So I'll just Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V. So holding down my shift key so I can resize from all sides, I will bring this in a little bit. Just drag in like this, and having done that, I will just change the color. So I will use the same color I used there. But how do I think at this point I'm okay like this. So one thing I want to do again is I want to move this a little bit upwards like this, and also make it a little bit smaller so it doesn't consume all of the space I have. Good. So I have space in between the lines too, so everything doesn't appear to be too big and we don't really have space. So I'll just make this to also smaller like this. Okay, so having done this, I would go over and I would type in the last thing here. So I'll Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V to actually select this and bring this down and change this to the website. So I have schoolhub.com like this. Okay, so I want to change this to, and I think I'll just settle for the regular instead of the whole chubby big font and all of that. So I'll move this closer to this point like this. Okay, so the last phase of the text I'll be using is the phone numbers. So I'll make a duplicate copy of this, Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V, and I'll just give this black because whites won't work well on this. So I'll just type out the phone number, and I'll just do this quickly. So what I can do is I'll just move this in place like this, and also I make sure I remove the outline from this shape like this. When I'm done with that, I'll just zoom to full page so I see what I'm doing clearly. So the next thing I want to do is I want to bring this now inside of my design. So what I'll just move it inside like this, and I'll make sure it's on top, shift page up to bring this up like this. And having done that, I don't want him facing this side, I want him facing this other side. So I'll just come up here to where I have mirror horizontally and flip it like this. Good. Okay, now the last thing I want to point out here, as you can see now, I don't want this area that is outside of this white. So what I can do is I'll go to my shape tool, select it like this, and I'll simply highlight these 2 points for this image and just drag up like this to this point, and that solves that problem for us. So I can actually make him smaller. I will just drag from the edge like this. I want him to be inside of this inner circle, so I can just move him somewhere along this part and leave him like this. So I'll click F4 to see what I'm doing in real time. Okay, so we're almost running up from this design. So the next thing I want to do is introduce our next image. Before I bring in my images, I want to create an effect at this background. So I have something going on in the background because it looks too plain. So how I can do that? Simple step. I'll just click on the rectangle tool and draw a rectangle like this. But what I would do with this one, I would rotate it like this. And now how I did that was, when you draw a rectangle it's like this. So if you want to rotate it, just click on it again, so it brings this command out. So I would rotate it like this and to face this direction, so his sun was facing this direction. What I can do with that is I can make this bigger like this, and I think somewhere around here is cool. So I'll take this up like this and change the color to this lighter blue. That's the blue you have here by default. So I'll make sure I'm removing the outline like this, and great. So I've removed the outline. The next thing I would like to do is I would like to reduce the opacity, because I don't want to put this chunky thing inside and it just disrupts the ecosystem of this my design. So what I'll just do is I'll go over to my transparency tool and click on the transparency and click on this one that says uniform transparency, and I will just manually set mine to 70. Good. I think somewhere at this point I'm cool with it. So of course we don't want to leave this outside, we want to backclip it inside of this drawing page, this shape we created in the first place. So how to do that? Select the object, right click, backclip inside, and select the object itself, which is this shape we created. So I'll just put it inside like this, and of course I won't want to leave it here like this, so I want to make extra adjustment to it. So what I'll just do is I'll just double click, and instead of leaving it at 70, I'll click on transparency and set it to 80 like this and click enter. So when I'm done with that, I can move this well in place, and of course I would not leave it here. I would want another shape. Now the shape I'll be creating is going to come like this. So what I will do with this one, selected, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, what I can do is select it like this. See my transform tools. So I haven't done this. I'll just bring this down here like this, and so I'll just zoom close to see what I'm doing well, and I'll just, with this one selected, I'll just I'll rotate like this, and when I'm okay with the points, as you can see, like this, I'll just click finish, or hold down the control, double click anywhere outside of this area. As you can see, guys, this is what I created with this shapes that I use. Instead of having it boring and nothing is actually going on inside of it. So what I can do is I'll double click on this shape to bring this a little bit down like this. I need this at this point, and I'll just click out. Good. So I have this effect on this region. So I might have to click back inside to balance this up. So what I can do is, first things first, I'll convert this object to curve. So what I can do is right click and click on convert to curves, and go over to my shape tool. Then I'll select this node, I would position this well here, and I'll zoom close. Also select this node and position it well like this. At this point, I'm okay with it. So what I can do is double click, hold down the control and double click outside to finish off that process. So as it is now, I think I'm okay with it, and I think I have a slight problem here. There's no www. I must have. Okay, so I'll just fix that and put this well. Good. Schoolhub.com. So I haven't done this. The next thing I'll be introducing to this design is the image for the background. So I'll just go over to where I have my resource files and click on it, and I'll select this nice looking kit here, drag and drop inside of CorelDraw like this. Okay, so I would just zoom out to actually resize this. Hold down the shift key to resize this in place like this. Okay, so I haven't done this. Of course, I won't be introducing this image to this design like this. I would want to blur it out so it stays somewhere in the background. So the first thing I want to do is, first things first, go over to your transparency tool, select it, and I would like to blur the edges. So I'll start from this edge, hold down the shift key, and make sure this black point doesn't exceed this point. It's currently at this place, and make sure the value please is set to 100. That's the only way you can get this. So I haven't done that. I'll move over to the second place, but to do that I would go to effects and I'll go to bitmap, convert to bitmap, and everything stays the same, 300 RGB, checked, and I'll just click OK. Now I'll do the same process for the other sides, and I'll drag like this, and when I'm done I'll go to bitmap, convert to bitmap, and click OK. So I'll just do this for the remaining parts too. Then lastly, for this part, I'll just do for like this, and I'll make sure I'm not removing any part of the head like this. I'm just blowing out the white space. So I haven't done this, bitmap, convert to bitmap like this, and click OK. So I haven't done all of this. I would want to do something else again. I'll go to bitmap and would go to image adjustment lab, this one here. When it pops out, I'll just bring my saturation. I don't want any colors inside of the image, so I'll just bring my saturation slider down to -100. Okay, good. And I would bump up the contrast a bit. Let me put it down. I should be. No, let me just bump up the contrast. Good. So I bump up the contrast like this. I can set it to 50, and can bump up the shadows to 10, and I'll just click OK. Great. So the last thing I'll be doing now, I'll change the blend mode to overlay. So what I can do that is I'll come over here to have transparency tools, click on it, and I would go over and set this to overlay like this. And you can use overlay and you can use multiply, whichever way works for you, but I would like to stick to overlay like this. Good. And I'll just click on this one, uniform transparency, and select it. So it does a perfect job for me here. As you can see, it has blended it nicely to this color I have at the background like this. So what I can just do is I want to power clip it inside of this. So I'll just Ctrl X, since I have things inside of my power clip, double click on the shape and I'll just paste it inside and make sure I have them positioned well here like this. So when I'm done with all of this, I can either click on this finish icon, this one here, finish editing power clip, or I hold down the control and double click outside like this. Great. So guys, this is how you can create. So if you have your logo, for the sake of this tutorial, I'll be using my logo for this. So I'll just drag this and bring this inside like this to this point, and can make this somewhat bigger a little bit, and I think I'll drag it up to this point and make it a little bit smaller like this. Okay, so like guys, what I said in the beginning, make sure you maintain hierarchy in your design, and you also, there is space for your design to actually breathe in. So this brings me to the end of my tutorial session, and please, once again, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't just watch, give it a thumbs up if you like it, so YouTube can also share this video with somebody that might need this video also. And please don't forget to share my video, share to your friends, share to your colleagues, share to your neighbors. Did I say neighbors? Yeah. Share to your neighbors and everybody around you. I would see you. And before I go, let me quickly say, if you have any flyer you have challenge designing in CorelDraw, you can just comment, drop a tip for me in the comment section, or just send me a message via Instagram. So I'll do a tutorial on how to get that done for you. So without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.